Yeah, obviously we got a really important weekend coming up starting tomorrow. Coming off a extremely disappointing, frustrating loss on Saturday, game that I thought we played fairly well actually for 37 minutes and then um, didn't do anything right in the last 3 minutes. So blame starts with me, responsibility starts with me, and just our inability to be prepared and execute what we needed to do to close out that game offensively, defensively, on the glass, 50-50 balls, breaking pressure, getting stops, you name it. So we feel like we've had a really good week of practice and are ready for a huge weekend and a great challenge with Princeton tomorrow night.
Yeah, Mike, where do you sense the urgency is with your guys in
High,
practice?
extremely high. I think um, we're up against it. We have our work cut out for us in these, last 7 games. I think obviously you feel good about being able to draw back on, being in a similar spot last year. But that was extremely hard, what we did. And so we have our work cut out for us. I do think we have confidence. I also think that we've played it in a lot of different, every experience we've had so far will prepare us for what is to come. And knock on wood, we've got as close to a healthy roster as we'll have. Obviously, given Nana and Drew being out for the year, but getting Landon back was a real positive. There were some positives on Saturday. Thought our sophomore class played really well. Malcolm Risby Jefferson, Famada Dabo, and Adrian Uchidiuno. So there were some real positives. I thought our defense in the first 37 minutes took a step forward as well. But yeah, the urgency level is high, and not necessarily like do or die, but really important.
Yeah, with Landon coming back, just when did you sense you were going to be able to get him back, and how much of a boost this time around against Princeton will it be to have him on the floor?
Yeah, not until Friday. I think we met last week, and he had not done anything, in practice. He hadn't done any contact until Friday for only about 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And even then, he was tentative and he was grimacing a lot. And, I didn't have, really high expectations that he'd be able to give us much. I knew he was going to try to give it a go. And I thought certainly he could have been better, but he did some good things in his 24 minutes. He'll be back in the starting lineup this weekend and expect him to play, a huge role in what we need to do. And the other thing, Nick, is he's had a full week of practice now. Last week he barely practiced, and all of a sudden you're out there playing, against Columbia. This week he's practiced, and he looks pretty good.
Yeah, Mike, to that point, obviously didn't have a chance to get on the floor very much before going into a game. He's coming off the bench, but still sort of cold going into that one. How'd you evaluate his performance level based on his lack of preparation, his lack of game time over a long period?
Yeah, I think it was just probably almost as good as you could hope for and expect, Bill. Not, probably up to his normal standard, what we saw in the first whatever 15 games that he played this year. Thought he got fatigued a little bit late, especially, we played in that last 8 minute, 21-second stretch. But he gives us, you just look at one stat and it's pretty clear: points in the paint and 2-point field goals made. We had 26 2-point field goals made in the game. Prior to that, the 3 games he missed, we had 33 combined 2-point field goals in 3 games. So, like, he's a huge presence, scoring the ball in the paint, defending in the paint, and obviously he's someone that he had a couple really good assists. You can run offense through him, and he can facilitate. So, we're a much better team when he's out there.
We obviously don't get to do this yet in college sports. Who knows? In 10 years, maybe we will in terms of trades or waiver wire acquisitions mid-season. But when you reintroduce a guy like Landon to your lineup mid-season, just what does that do for the guys in the locker room and the fact that you are adding a player of that quality to the mix, midway through here?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if the Ivy League ever gets to that point where we're doing midseason trades. Maybe in the Big East and in some other power conferences. Yeah, he's a all league caliber player. So like when you're without him, there's no excuses. It's next man up. It's let's do all we can to everyone be a little bit better to make up for his absence, just like we did earlier with AJ being out and Dobble being out. And, but obviously Landon is different. He's other than Keno, he's probably the best guy we have in terms of generating offense and, helping us create an advantage. So getting him back I think is significant, but it also uh, doesn't just like we have to play better, whether he's out there or not. If we don't play well, it doesn't mean anything. We have to play better, and when we do that, when he's out there, I think that's when we can be at our best.
Hey, Mike, you talked about the last 3 minutes of the game. Just what do you attribute that to? Just the breakdowns that you guys had?
Uh, yeah, I think it was everything. Again, I think it starts with me and, just not having us as prepared as we needed to be to play against what Columbia did. I thought we were, maybe we didn't sub enough early in the second half and we were just trying to survive the last 3 minutes and hoping the clock hit 0-0-0 instead of going out and making winning plays. We called a couple timeouts to try to, just calm us down and take some deep breaths and make sure we were in a position to be successful. But we got outworked, we got out hustled, we got out coached in the last 3 minutes of the game. 50-50 balls, they were 100% to Columbia. Offensive rebounds on free throws, they went to Columbia. Like turnovers against pressure, missed free throws. It was everything. And I've got to do a better job of, helping our guys be successful in those situations.
To that point, last time out against Princeton, they had two 10-0 runs, a 9-0 run. What are you telling you guys about, ways to maybe stop the bleeding if it starts to go that way in this next game against the Tigers?
Yeah, defend and rebound, get stops. It's hard to go on a run if, it's hard for us to be the victim of a run if we're defending and rebounding at a high level and getting stops. With that said, I've said this to, some people here, like you have to score to be able to beat Princeton. We did not score last game. We had 49 points. They did a great job taking us out of, some things that we looked to attack and had been really successful with in the previous 3 games when we scored 83 at Cornell, 83 against Dartmouth, and 89 against Penn. They'll make some adjustments, I'm sure, with how they are going to attack us at both ends of the court. But, we've got to see what they did in that first game. There's some holes there that we can attack, and we've been working on that this week. And, I think hopefully we'll be much more confident going against how they're guarding us, especially how they're guarding Keno.
Coach, in terms of Ivy Madness, I'm curious, like where you fall in terms of, just right now, the top four teams go to Ivy Madness, which makes the regular season, every game so damn important and very intriguing for the fans. The flip side of that is, I mean, you can't tell me on any night, teams 5, 6, 7, and 8 can't beat 1, 2, 3, and 4 in this league. Would you like to see it get to a point someday when all 8 teams are invited, or do you like it the way it is with 4 teams and making the regular season games so crucial?
Um, I'm going to sound like Mick Cronin. Did somebody plant that question? What do you think? I'm joking. I'm joking. Of course, we would love all 8 teams to go, Scott, right? I think that you are right on. Anyone in this league is capable of being successful, especially on a neutral court in an Ivy League tournament, of winning. I think we showed that last year as the 4th seed, right? We weren't as good as Princeton over the course of a 28, 29, 30 game season, but we proved that we could beat them on a neutral court for 1 game. I'm sure it's great and it creates great theater for all those that like to observe Ivy League basketball. The fact that only 4 get in and you get to, follow all these different races. As a coach, I can tell you it's the most stressful 2 months of the year and it's no fun, right? Everyone wants to be playing in meaningful basketball games. Everyone wants to play in postseason games in March. And in this league, there's 4 usually good teams that don't make it. So we're doing everything we can to be one of the 4 teams that do make it. Focusing on what's in front of us and the practice in front of us and the game in front of us, and really diving in and, doubling down on our process. But the elephant in the room, like, you can't ignore it. Everyone wants to play March 14th, 15th, and 16th. And yeah, I would love to see the league expand to all 8 teams, but it's way above my pay grade. It's way above me, and we've got to, embrace what we have in front of us and give everything we can to try to be one of the teams standing in March.
And Mike, against Columbia, there's no JJ. He didn't see any action. Is he going to be ready for action this weekend?
Yeah, he was ready last weekend. It was
It
just
was.
it was a decision by our staff. Russ, like, I thought, and it's not that AJ didn't perform in practice, but Adrian had a really good week of practice, and
Mm.
we really value what you do during the week leading up to the weekend. And how you perform in a game is how you're going to perform. I'm sorry, how you perform in practice is how you'll perform in a game, and how you perform in practice sometimes will determine if you get to perform in a game. So
Mm.
when we see something like, what Adrian did last week in practice, what kind of program are you running if guys, don't have the ability to change their uh, opportunity with really good hard work, right? In life, you do well, you get opportunity. In basketball at Brown, you practice well, you get opportunity. And that was more a case of Adrian and Malcolm really kind of taking that opportunity than anything else directly involving JJ.
I like it.
Coach, I know Malcolm's not a captain by title, but he seems to have taken, a little bit of ownership. It seems like he's a guy that stepped up. Am I wrong in saying into a little bit of a leadership role? It looks like I see him, rallying the troops, talking to the team, and a guy that isn't afraid to, speak his mind.
Yeah, I think those are great things, Scott. Great progress, signs of progress for him as a point guard. You've got to be a leader, and I think he's a really smart, intelligent, talented guard who can obviously score the basketball, but it can really set up other people. And yeah, I think what you see are all great signs of his growth and his progress as a point guard that we think can be a terrific player here at Brown.
Mike, against Columbia, 15 turnovers, 19 points for them. I looked at the stats. You guys are the bottom of the league in assist to turnover ratio. How are you addressing that in practice?
It just, I mean, coaching it every possession, Ian, talking about how valuable the each possession is, how important it is to, try to get not just a shot at the rim every possession, but a good shot at the rim. When you do get a shot, you also have an opportunity for an offensive rebound. That has been a strength of our team. 15 turnovers are way too much, especially when you combine the fact that we only turned Columbia over 9 times. That compounded with Columbia getting 13 offensive rebounds and us only getting 4. So, like, there's a difference there of 15 possessions, right? Is that right? Is my math right? 9, yeah, 9 and 6. So, like, that's how you lose a game, when you shoot nearly 70% from 2 and hold the opponent to 40% from the field. That has to be better. Rebounding, I've said from day one with this group, offensive turnovers and offensive rebounds surrendered, both of those numbers need to probably be in single digits for us.